It's been a couple months since I last updated everyone on the progress of Shelf Control, so I wanted to do a little spiel about like the changes I made to the game, some events I've attended, and just kind of overall progress to the game itself. For those who are new here, I'm Sam. I'm the creator of Shelf Control, a resource management game where people play as librarians trying to collect books, allocate bookworms, and trying to make the library the most popular library in town. It's actually been a little bit of a whirlwind this past couple of months. A lot of changes have been made to the game itself, and I've done quite a bit of playtesting. I attended some events, some expos, and it's been amazing. Let's talk about the game itself. So first, the take that element in the game is no longer in the game. For those who have played it before, the take that element was a huge component of the game, and that is the aspect of the game where people punish each other, kind of sabotage each other, and try to make people lose progress in the game. That was really interesting because not a lot of games do the take that element. It was a very interactive part of the game, and that's what I liked about it, that it was very interactive. But I kind of ended up deciding that wasn't the experience I wanted people to have from my game, because the reason why I say this is because my game is relatively long. It's about 1.5 hours long, and losing progress in the game that long feels really, really bad, and it drags the game on for too long. And there's not a good experience to have that takedown mechanic for too much. And like my game was 60% of it, 60% of effects of the game had take that, so I had to take that out of my game, make some new effects, make some new adjustments to the game, and I would definitely say improve the game a lot as a whole. But obviously it's really dependent on how other people perceive the game. Some people really enjoy the game as it is, the older version, but I wanted a different experience to come from the game, so that's kind of why that's kind of why I made the changes I did. Another element that I changed about the game was how you build your library. So before, there was an optimizing effect in the game where you optimize what books were in your library, and you remove books and you try to upgrade the books through discarding books. I thought that was a very interesting aspect. Not a lot of games do the optimizing aspect of a game, and I think the reason why I changed it was because it was kind of antithesis to what a library is. People usually build libraries, build collection, want a shiny collection, and kind of likes progress through the act of building libraries. And that was not what my game was. It was about losing books and kind of trying to optimize it. I think I do want to make a game where there is an optimizing effect, because that's kind of new, that's kind of exciting. But in Shelf Control, that's not going to be an element anymore. It goes against what a library is, and I think I do want to achieve a game later on where I do the element like optimizing factor, but not for this game. This game, the optimizing element and the takedown element goes hand in hand, and because it goes hand in hand, losing both of it structurally changed the game a lot, and that's a good thing. I've talked about the things I took out of the game, so what I added into the game was changing the way bookworms work. So before, bookworms were like little meeples which activate books effects through just putting them on the books. It was really interesting and people really liked the visual element of it, but it was also very one-dimensional. I wanted to create a bookworms which was a little bit more elegant. So popularity was the points of the game, and you achieved points by getting books and stuff like that. So that was a simple solution, but I thought it was not a very elegant solution. Elegant solutions tend to be a little bit easy to get, but it just seems really elegant. I don't know. And So now I put bookworms as part of the popularity system, so you can actually gain popularity by when playing bookworms. That changed the whole the whole solution of the game became so much more straightforward. It became so much clearer. Everything seems more elegant. I really enjoyed brainstorming that aspect because it just because my game in particular is inspired by games like Everdale, Scout, Sentry, and Dune Imperium. It's kind of wild. Those games are very different, but I think elements of those games itself you can see influences in my game. And yeah, so that's kind of something I put into the game, that made it a lot more straightforward and a lot easier to get. So in terms of events I've attended like 3 major events this past year. So the first one was CanCon, where I went to a expo in Canberra where I had to drive down for 3 hours and kind of just showcase my work. There was a lot of designers that tried out my game at CanCon, and it was really interesting because one of the major feedback was talking about visual identity of the game. So I haven't decided whether I want to go down the self-publishing route. I do want to, but I don't know how feasible it is. Regardless, visual identity was something that was brought up heavily as feedback. The game as it is quite, like, the visual identity seems quite maybe childish, cozy, and that's not really what the game was. And as it currently is, maybe it is like leaning towards it a little bit more, but it definitely, with the take that element, it goes against the visual identity quite a lot. And that was something that was very interesting to me because it's something, even though I have a marketing background, so obviously I do think about stuff like this, but it's not something that really, like, I wanted the game to look pretty, I wanted it to appeal and attract people, but I didn't think about how the game itself kind of holds hands with the visual identity. And so that was something that was really interesting and something I wanted to work on, especially in the future versions. I definitely want to work on future things like this. And then I also attended a Burwood Inner West Library showcase for board games. That was really, really interesting as well because I don't really have access to a lot of children, and there was a lot of children at the showcase, and they were playing the games, and it was very informative because that my game is definitely not for children. There's a lot of text. It's very text heavy. It's a lot it's very strategic, and even though board games tend to typically be accessible to children, my game is not, and it's definitely something I need to consider if I want to go to the more popular route, because I need to make it more accessible to people who may not enjoy those kind of games as much. I don't know. It's definitely something to think about and something I learned. It was definitely very interesting to showcase at the event, and yeah, it was just really cool. And the last event I really attended was the Outplay Showcase last weekend, where there was over like 2,000 people. It was from 10 to 3 on both days, Saturday and Sundays, and it was so mentally taxing. That was crazy. So many people came in and tried out the game, and something I really learned was how to demo the game, because I never really been in those kind of events before where I had to demo a game, and it, like, the pressure kind of got to me because people wanted to play the game, but didn't want to play the game for that long. My game was way too long. It was like 1.5 hours. So I had to shorten the game so people won't stay there for like an absurd amount of time when they could be looking at other showcases, looking at other exhibitions. Playing a shorter version of my game was very interesting because it kind of showed me how the game ramps up. The first couple of rounds, the game ramps up really, really slowly, and so people were there for very, very long, which was a bit of a shame. I think people did, like, there was a couple of feedback where people who enjoyed it really enjoyed it. So the feedback was it was 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 if they enjoyed it. But people who didn't enjoy it, they kind of just left it there and just walked away. That's fine. I don't mind that. It's up to them. It's their right to actually walk away. But they kind of did show me that like I was getting somewhere with the game, where it was at a point where the game was good for people who enjoy those kind of games, and if they didn't enjoy those kinds of games, then that's fine. So yeah, that was kind of my experience at Outplay. It was really, really cool. It was really, really satisfying to actually showcase at the exposition. And yeah, I also wrote a little bit of an article about my experiences so far, and that kind of summarizes what I said in this video down below. If you want to read more, please do. And that's kind of a little spiel about the current updates, latest updates. I'll probably might do some more frequent ones in the future, but who knows. Yeah, that's it. Bye.